Hi, Dominic. Hi, buddy. Okay, so remember when I read the Beauty and the Beast to you? And I talked about how it's your mom's favorite Disney movie, and it's one of my favorites. And I don't know if I said this, Belle's definitely my favorite Disney princess. But I have another Beauty and the Beast book. It's called Beauty and the Beast, The Teapot's Tale. It's all about Mrs. Potts and her son Chip. I will not read the whole book in Mrs. Potts' voice. I won't do that to Julia. I won't do that to her. Hello, my name's Mrs. Potts. I wasn't always a teapot. Heavens now. All of us in this castle were put under a strange spell some years ago by a powerful enchantress. She turned the young prince into a terrible beast because he was selfish and cruel, two things that you should not be, Dominic. There was only one way the prince could break the spell. The enchantress gave him a magic rose that would bloom until his 21st birthday. The prince would remain a beast unless he could learn to love and be loved before the last petal fell from the rose. Lonely years passed while the beast hid from the world. He refused to leave the castle. He didn't even want any tea. That's sad. I tried to stay cheerful. There's nothing sadder than an empty teapot, except an empty teacup, like my poor son Chip. Then, one stormy night, an old man who was lost in the woods found his way to the castle. Lumiere, the candlestick, and Cogsworth, the clock, let him in and brought him to the fireplace. He was cold and wet, and I was so happy to offer him a hot cup of tea. "I'll warm you up in no time," I said. But the master was boiling mad. He hated anyone to see him in his beastly form. "So you've come to stare at the beast, did you?" the beast raged. "I just needed a place to stay," the old man explained. "I'll give you a place to stay," the beast roared, and then he locked the poor man away in the tower. Under his rages, I knew the beast had a kind heart. But I worried that he would never learn to control his temper, and if he didn't learn to love before long, I would stay a teapot forever. Soon after the old man's arrival, Chip babbled, "Mama, Mama, there's a girl in the castle." "Now, Chip," I scolded, "I will not have you making up such wild stories." But it was true. The girl's name was Belle, and she had come to rescue her father, the man in the tower. Belle was frightened by the beast, but she offered to stay in her father's place. Her father was worried, but the beast sent him home. Belle did stay. She was such a pretty girl. We all bubbled with excitement. If only she and the master would fall in love and break the spell. Chip and I went straight to Belle's room. It chilled me to the spout to see her so sad. We tried to cheer her up. "Things will turn out right in the end," I assured Belle. "You'll see." How the master raged when Belle refused to come to dinner with him. I told him, "Try to be patient, sir. After all, the girl has lost her freedom and her father in one day." But the beast roared, "If she won't eat with me, then she won't eat at all." Despite the master's orders, Belle dined on the best the castle had to offer. I'd rather have broken my own handle than let such a lovely child go hungry. The rest of the staff felt the same way. When Belle came downstairs later that night, we served her the most wonderful meal she had ever eaten. Lumiere and the others put on quite a show. Just having a guest made us overflow with joy. I warmed myself up and poured Chip full. We did our best to make Belle feel at home. But One day, Belle ran away. The beast had flown into a rage when he found Belle in his private room. She was terrified. Belle didn't get far before she was surrounded by wild wolves. The master rescued her, though the wolves savagely clawed, bit him, viciously slashed. Back at the castle, we watched as Belle tended to the master's wounds. She was very gentle. When she thanked him for saving her life, my eyes steamed with tears. A tingle of hope tickled my spout. I told Cogsworth, there may be something here that wasn't here before. Indeed there was. I nearly flipped my lid. For the first time in his life, the master wanted to do something special for someone else. Belle loved to read, so the master told her she could have any of the books in his wonderful library. Chip was too young to understand, but I knew feelings had changed between Belle and the master. I felt all warm inside, even though I wasn't anywhere near the stove. But the course of true love never did run smooth. Belle discovered that her father was ill. She begged the beast to let her go home, and the master allowed her to leave the castle. While Belle was taking care of her sick father, trouble was brewing in the village. A wicked hunter convinced villagers that the beast would soon attack their homes, so they decided to attack the beast first. We heard the hunter shout, "Kill the beast!" Next thing we knew, the townspeople were storming the castle. Oh, that's scary. The servants defended the castle, but the master wouldn't lift a paw to help us. He was heartbroken about Belle having gone away. While we servants fought in our own special way, the evil hunter attacked the master. The beast couldn't find the strength to fight back until he heard Belle's voice. She had returned. Before he fell from the castle wall, the hunter had stabbed Beast in the back. We all feared he would die. Belle leaned over the master and cried, "Don't leave me, I love you." But it was too late. Or was it? Suddenly, magical sparks filled the air. The beast seemed to float off the ground. Rays of light shot from his paws as they changed into hands and feet. Right in front of my eyes, the master became a handsome prince. And I turned back into my old self again. And so did our dear little Chip and everyone else in the castle. The curse over us was broken by the magic of true love. Soon after that, Chip asked me a question. "Mama, are Belle and the prince going to live happily ever after?" I nodded and gave him a big hug. We're living happily ever after too. But since those days, I've never taken a teapot for granted. The end. So, a very cute little story, and I hope you liked it. But I have some questions. So the enchantress cursed everyone in the castle, and they were all going to stay inanimate objects, even if the prince didn't figure out how to be a nice person. That sounds like the worst group project ever, but I guess the moral of the story is, if it's a group project, you always have to do your end of it. Whether it's, being good and kind like the beast had to be, or turning stuff in on time, or I don't really know the situations you're personally in with group projects right now, but you'll understand one day. I also want to comment, this is more for Julia, by the way, it's for your mom. So they talk about how the beast he only has until his 21st birthday. Now, when I first watched it, I was like, 21, that's old. But now, 21's not that old. And they say that what is the exact quote in this? Something along the lines of, lonely years passed while the beast hid from the world. That's the line. So he was, call it 16 when this whole thing with the enchantress happened. And I'm not justifying his behavior, but Isn't everyone kind of a jerk at 16? I feel like it's a lot to put on someone, as well as the entire castle of other human beings who are his servants. They're like, this 16-year-old was a jerk, and now you all get to be armoires and teapots and silverware and a candlestick because a 16-year-old was a jerk. Has the enchantress not met other 16-year-olds? Anyway, I'm sorry. I had a lot that I had to think about with this. So I hope Julia enjoyed this. I hope your mom enjoys this. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. I miss you very much. I love you. Be good and always participate in group projects. Okay. Bye, Dominic.